Welcome back to The Price of Business. I'm your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. I saw this story, I guess it was from my producer on his Facebook page, and it's about Tactical Firearms. Jeremy Alcede, he's with Tactical Firearms. They are in the process of a bank calling on their note, not because they failed to make payments, not because of any financial problems, and I'm not even sure to this moment if they know exactly why they're being called on their note. You know, maybe it's because the legal environment could become so dicey that since they fund a firearms place, that they could find themselves even liable for something that might, I don't know. I don't know what kind of insanity it is, but it doesn't bode well, and it doesn't bode well for the Second Amendment, in my opinion. So I asked Jeremy on. We're talking about a company that's been around for years that could find itself out of business in less than a week. Jeremy, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
I wish it was for more positive circumstances. Tell us about Tactical Firearms first.
Well, we've been in business for 4 years, just over 4 years. We have the nicest indoor range in the U.S. We did $7.2 million last year, the year before, and then $9 million the year before that. And, there's some really unethical things going on right now, and possibly illegal. But yeah, they called the loan, and they put us up for foreclosure for Tuesday if we can't figure something out.
Okay. Any progress?
There is. We've had an overwhelming response from people all across the U.S. We've got legal counsel offering assistance, and we've got a lot of high net worth individuals and banks coming to our bailout.
Okay. So how do you feel in terms of your attitude of optimism?
We've got a last-case scenario that would stop this. I just, I'm looking for a peaceful resolution. I'm trying to talk to the bank. They're not returning my calls. Supposedly they're out of town until next Wednesday, which is, just so happened to be the day after the foreclosure, but they say they respond to the news media and say that they want to work with us. So it's...
Go ahead and tell us what bank.
Icon Bank. They're a local bank here in Houston. They only have 7 locations. There's some good old boy things going on, and it's not fair. It's not fair at all.
Okay, so that's interesting because, as you well know, the local banks like that, the regional banks, they are being sucked up. Are they in the process of being absorbed by another bank and are trying to get themselves in compliance with the expectations of that new bank? Because I can't even begin to tell you how many of these regional banks are out of business now or have essentially been absorbed by bigger banks.
Right. It's nothing that I've heard of. I can't speculate as to everything that's going on. Definitely don't want to get in trouble with slander or, bring any undue lawsuits upon myself. But I just don't understand. They went on air last night saying we were in default, and it made everybody think that we weren't paying our bills. Everybody asked, "Are you paying your bills?" And then so when Fox showed up, they said, "Are you paying your bills?" I said, "Of course." And we haven't missed a single payment. And they said, "Well, can we have proof?" And so we went online and pulled up our, auto drafts from them. And we've proven that we've never missed a payment. There's some other things, that led up to this. And so it's about 95% their fault if I had to place blame. I've got a 30% business partner that started this, and it all has to do with greed.
It has to do with greed.
Yeah. And then, of course, they told me that the government's, every time they get audited, they pull our file because we're a firearms loan, which they don't like. And, they have to jump through hoops and hurdles to make sure my file's correct. And so, I know that the government's putting pressure on them, but, they knew that before they took the loan, and they knew us. And they need to work with us through this. And then when I found out, some of their inside bankers called me and told me some things that just really shocked me. And I said, "Are you kidding me?" And then I was able to verify it. And so, there's going to be some issues for them to overcome after this is all said and done.
Okay, what were some of the things that they told you?
Well, that's some of the things that I can't really talk about right now.
Well, you got to give me credit for trying.
Well, I could lay out some facts. Number one, their investors and largest shareholder, Mark Evans, that voted on the renewal of our loan, opened up a gun store right next to theirs. And he's also the attorney that is filing the foreclosure paperwork. If that's not a conflict of interest, then I don't know what is. Those are facts that I can say.
Right. Yeah, we can't say that is the motivation behind it, but it sure is interesting, that's for sure.
It's very interesting facts.
Yeah, interesting timing and that type of thing. When did he open it? How close is it to Tactical Firearms?
It's not close. It's about 15 minutes on the Beltway away, maybe 20 minutes. But if someone were to gain our facility with our range, that would put someone in a very advantageous position.
Wow.
If anybody. I'm not saying they would, but I'm just saying if anybody were to, come in on 50 cents on the dollar, since our property's worth $9 million and we have $6.5 million in loans, that would be a nice little
maybe a coup is what that would be.
You said it, not me, sir.
Yeah, and this again, we're not saying this is fact, but this is interesting speculation. That's interesting. Wow, I preferred the story being one of government overreach, and banks feeling fear regarding this, than one of this kind of crass capitalism. If it be the case. Either way, I think that clearly the objective is to put you out of business rather than just remove themselves from the pressure of having to deal with a company that is a gun owner or a gun selling company. Because if that was their only concern, they'd say, we need you to get out in 90 days or 120 days. We don't want to do this kind of business anymore. But 10 days, 15 days, that seemed to me to have greater ambition than that. And now you're putting some light on that.
Right. The 3 loans that are in default is what they're saying, because the loan expired, are totaling about $1.3 million. The land that is attached to that is worth well over $2 million. And so how come they didn't come to me and say, why don't you sell the land to pay off the loans that are going into default, and we're good? I wasn't even given that option. So now I've got people, wanting to purchase the land to help us out. But then the question will be, well, will they accept that? But they cross-collateralized our $4.6 million loan, which included our facility and range and assets. Will they let us do that? I don't know. I'm trying to talk to them, but they won't return my call. So,
wow, what a disgusting story, to be perfectly honest with you. I can't think of any other words to describe it. Tactical,
very sickening.
Yeah, sickening. It's tacticalfirearms.us. They're acting like the government.
Right. We're on Twitter. You can follow us on Twitter, Tactical Firearm, and then Facebook.
Yeah, and it's exactly like it sounds. Tactical Firearms at Twitter. You can just put in Tactical Firearms Katie at Facebook. Tacticalfirearms.us, which I bet you probably have all your social media connected there.
We do.
Sigmund, my producer, who's the one who turned me on to your story, he wanted to mention something. Go ahead.
So, one of the things that I noticed on Facebook was you've got that marquee out in front of your range, and you often have kind of anti-Obama or anti-Democrat or anti-government cute little sayings on there. Do you think that kind of put a crosshairs on your business more than if you had just not been doing things like that?
I'm sure it did, but I'm not going to bow down to our government. If I served in the military, and I'm going to respect the heads of office, but that doesn't mean I have to respect the person and their ideas. And so the way that I feel and the way my customers feel, I feel that we're such a large store, we have such a large presence that it's our duty to voice our opinion, because they're supposed to listen to our opinion and do what we say. We put them in office. We pay their salary. They need to listen to the majority.
Yeah.
And so I'm just trying to do my part.
Oh, you better keep doing that, because we need more people vocalizing the fact that this regime is becoming increasingly tyrannical. And it's the fact that we've been, we've been taught by the government for generations what government can and cannot do, that we have this massive sheeple who don't know how to take a stand. So I'm glad you take a stand. And I want listeners to take a stand and contact Icon Bank and ask them what the deal is with Tactical Firearms, because this seems like a horrible overreach. And Jeremy Alcede, thanks so much for telling us your story.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, make sure you keep me informed on what's going on with you guys.
I will, and keep us in your prayers.
You bet. I will. I will be praying. All right, when we come back, much more for you. Contact Icon Bank and say, hey, what the heck are you doing with tactical firearms? More for you right after this on The Price of Business.